Hello again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Today I'm going to go over how to take the Paragon weapons out and take them into your own project. This process works for literally any weapon that we ever get, and I'm going to be using the DCS project just because it simply has a bow and a sword in, and it's a popular project anyway. So you're going to need to export the, if I could spell, you're going to need to export the base swords as reference. So you want the two steel shield and sword and the elven bow. I've already exported them out ready, and I imported Paragon Sparrow just because one of the ones with a bow, and I took out the Sparrow Tuff. I also took out a Greystone Tuff, and I took out the Hellhammer from the Infinity Blade weapons because obviously I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to show you how to do one. So straight into Blender, two new collections, call one DCS just as a reference collection, and we're going to call the other one Sparrow for now, because I'm going to handle the bow first. So we just import a mesh, that's the DCS bow. Then we're going to import Sparrow. I'm going to start using my shortcuts to import just because it's faster. I think by now everybody knows how to import. I'm going to hide the DCS bow. Now it's time to remove everything from the actual Paragon character. So we're going to get rid of the bones. I'm going to use our old friend Split by Material. Probably hide some of the bow. We don't need the string off this. We don't need the arrow. Just come in this way. Hide the bow out of the way. And then we can select all of this and delete it. Unhide the bow. Put it in the middle. Now we've got just the mesh. It's not straight, as you can see, so if we bring in the reference one, rotate it by 180, go above view, rotate on the Z, straighten it up. So now I got rid of the string. I fully intend to use this string instead, and the only reason I'm doing that is so that you can see how I would do it if I was doing it on a different bow that didn't have a string or something. So I would just duplicate this one, separate it by selection, move it into the actual other one. Now I'm going to position this onto here. Lost it. Then we go up to the top, do the same thing, but now that we move the origin point onto the bottom of the bowstring, we should be able to rotate it instead of moving it, and then we can actually just rotate it into place, and as it's on the pivot point we don't have to keep on going back. scale it up on the Z. Now with that done, and we're in the right place, it's time to move the modifiers around. So we don't need, I always get rid of this one. Add a modifier, armature, pick the armature. Add a modifier, data transfer, pick the original. Vertex groups, generate them, apply them. I messed up, I should have deleted these first. So we'll delete all groups. Go back, add a modifier, exactly since before, data transfer. And we've got all the groups in. We will test moving the bow. Everything's fine. Now it's time to export them, so we're just going to select it all. Those should be joined really. I'm going to export it the old way, as for some reason the pipeline sometimes messes this up, so I was just safer and easier to export it normally. Back into Unreal. So I'm just going to put a folder in. Pick the original bows skeleton. Pop into the animation. Change the preview mesh to the one we just have imported. There we go. See, it works fine. Don't need these two materials. Save in case it has a crash. Find the bow material. It is a material instance already, so we're just going to put it on. And then you can change it however you want. Just going to change the colours off screen because you'll be able to see the effect on screen. Then you can have as many variations as you feel like. And you've got a perfectly working bow on the DCS bow. If I go and change the mesh in the bow so that we can see it in game. As you can see, it's the different colour that I put on. And it works fine. Right. We'll go straight into doing the melee weapons now. Just going to save all just in case. Back to Blender, we don't need any of this. We'll get rid of that now. Obviously we don't need that collection. We do need the DCS because now we're going to import the DCS sword and shield. Just for reference, I'm going to delete the two collisions that are on them and then just leave them alone. New collection. I'm going to call this one Grey Swan. Well, it's grey, it's easy enough. New collection. I'm just going to call this one Hell, just for the Hell hammer. Going to hide the hammer for a second. We can get rid of the skeleton. Don't need his LODs. Pretty obvious by now, split by material. Get rid of everything we can. Trying the sword and the blade together. So now we've got the shield and the sword separated. So I'm going to call this one shield. I'm going to call the other one, guess what? Sword. First things first, I'm going to position the origin point on this. Now, it may not be apparent why I always put the origin point where I do. I always try and find somewhere in the handle so that when, or if I want to scale the sword or the weapon or whatever it is, because sometimes you might want it to shrink to a dagger, try and have the origin point where the hand would sit, so somewhere in the middle of the handle, and then that way when you scale it scales from this point, so when it scales out you can actually shrink it down and scale it up to a point. A little demo of the scale. So now when you scale it, it scales from that point. So you can get a lot more variation in your weapon because you can scale it if you want to. I'm going to straighten it up a bit. Make life easier in a moment. So now that I've positioned it, I'm going to bring in the originals, hide the shield. So we're going to need to rotate it on the X, like 90, rotate on the Z, and then, oops, that was on Z, back one step, rotate Z. And there you can see, almost exact. So now I'm happy with that. So I'm going to move that one up to the mesh folder. Hide it, hide it. We're going to work on the shield. So for reference, I'm going to have a pop and look to see where the shield is in the center. So probably go somewhere about there. Trying to get it straight in the middle. As we can see, the handles, straps, whatever you want to call them, aren't in the same place, so we're just going to separate them, grab them. It's actually connected to the middle somewhere. There we go. It's where I had that origin point selected before. Just going to move them in the same place. That'll do. Right, so now we can send the shield up to mesh. We can just hide these. Bring in the hammer. Steel sword for reference again. Now, it looks like the only thing we need to worry about is its size. So bring it down a bit. Position it. Put the orange into the cursor. Okay, that'll do for us, just for demo purposes. Move that one up to mesh. So now everything that's in the mesh one will get sent to Unreal. We don't need the materials, obviously. Wasn't a material instance, I would definitely so now you'll be able to change the colours and stuff. Same for the sword really. I'm just doing it out of habit. Could probably do it the same with that. Yeah, and then you can change the colours of the beams. Give your weapons a frost effect instead, I guess. Going to find the two blueprints for the steel sword. Steel shield. Put in the Nova ones first. You would have to add the sockets, I'm not going to bother doing that. It's obviously still a bit too big, so you need to shrink it a bit more. But you'll be using different animations anyway. One more thing that I think is worth noting while I'm here is if you go into any of the Paragon materials, you can bake them out. And then you have a PBR material instead of the Paragon materials. Obviously you would want to turn the metallic down on that a little bit, and then you can just use your PBR material as you normally would. Hope this video helped you out with taking the Paragon weapons. I mean, after all, they're all there, good weapons, easily to take for free. Who doesn't like free weapons? See you next time.